Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Paraphilia, where we can look back to 1968 on the most groundbreaking interracial kiss on television. But from the very beginning, Spock's parents were in an interspecies relationship, and nobody cared about that. So let's take a look at Exophilia and its place in mainstream culture. Welcome to Paraphiliology, where we make love, not kink shaming. It's kind of funny that in 1968, people were more comfortable with an interspecies relationship than an interracial relationship, which in my opinion is a testament to just how mainstream exophilia really is. In Sue Pervert's Extraterrestrial Sex Fetish, they describe exophilia as a love, or philia, for that which is outside, exo, the Earth. Of course, the majority of sexualized aliens, like the Orions from Star Trek, or Syl from Species, are very obviously humanoid. And it's no surprise why dudes and geeks alike both thought that Syl was to die for. This kind of exophiliac fascination also dribbles into video games. Take, for example, Mass Effect, where Shepard has relations with a multitude of aliens throughout the series. But it's your choice whether or not you do this in the game, so if you've done this, that's pretty sus. And then there are the aliens, like the xenomorph from Alien, that are very abstract, but still have an avid following on the internet, which makes a lot of sense because H.R. Giger intentionally designed all of the stages of the xenomorph's life to be outwardly sexual. And it's often argued that each stage of the xenomorph's life represents a different binary gender. After all, it's a film about a living thing's reproduction cycle, so naturally sex is a core theme of it all. We can even look at more recent mainstream films like Venom, where the symbiote's sexuality is worn on the film's sleeve.
Hi, Eddie.
Whoa.
That had to awaken something in someone, right? Right? Anybody? But in the realm of more underground depictions of exophilia, otherworldly beings are portrayed as far more abstract than the sexy terrestrials we see in films, even if they do tend to place emphasis on humanoid aspects of these creatures' bodies. But I think I've made my point that a fascination with exophilia is a lot more mainstream than people seem to give it credit for, which has to have you wondering where all this started. The earliest alleged exophilic relationship can be traced back to 1957, when a Brazilian farmer named Antonio Villas-Boas claimed to have been abducted by aliens and then be coerced into a sexual interaction with a female alien. He claimed to have been doused in gel, and then led into a room that was filled with gas that induced vomiting. He was then taken into a room where an allegedly attractive female alien made love to him, and then dipped. And he actually claimed to be pretty upset that after such an intimate moment, she dumped him, feeling that he'd been used as no more than just cattle. But hey, that's one hell of a get-out-of-jail-free card for paying child support. After the alleged event, he claimed to experience headaches, nausea, and skin lesions. And then we can go back even earlier to 1947, to the case of Barney and Betty Hill. Basically the normal alien abduction story. Upon abduction, the aliens ran tests on both of them, collecting hair, fingernails. But Barney added his spicy little touch. Yeah, that's right. Anal probing.
What's an anal probe?
That's when they put this big metal hoopajou up your butt.
And while I'm not gonna sit here and directly say it was a fabrication, but let's just say Freud might have a lot to say about Barney making a claim like that. But hey, that's Barney's business. And then we have what's probably the darkest case of exophilia. And if you already know where I'm headed, yes, it's the Heaven's Gate cult, where the cult's leader, Marshall Applewhite, led 38 of his followers to consume a mixture of phenobarbital and vodka. And over the course of 3 days, they all laid down together to die. How did he convince 38 people to commit suicide? Well, Applewhite had his own belief of the divine birth of Jesus. Applewhite told his followers that Jesus wasn't divinely conceived, but rather, Mary had been impregnated by aliens, and that God was to return to pick them up on the Hale-Bopp comet. But I personally wouldn't take the word of a mass suicide cult that seriously, even if the name Heaven's Gate Away Team is dope as f***. And now it's time for me to turn it back to the community. And while I've been doing a lot of research for this project over the last few days, I really can't find any direct testimony of exophiliacs about where this all started for them, and if you identify as an exophiliac, show up to the Paraphiliology subreddit so you can give your own testimony. But honestly, with the sheer amount of exophilia in mainstream media, it's not all surprising to me that someone might have found it in the media and then the fascination just grew from there. And while I really haven't scratched the surface of the exophilia community directly, I want this video to be a message that maybe it's just not as crazy as it sounds. As a kid in your formative years, anything could trigger anything. And honestly, if you still don't think exophilia is as mainstream as I'm claiming it to be, just look at Doja Cat's new music video. See, I'm not that niche. I'm hip with the kids. I'm hip with the kids. Bro fist. But in the meantime, that's all she wrote. If you're interested in topics like these, check out my Bigfoot erotica video. And remember to make love, not kink shaming.